Christine Pelosi tells us why we need to protect these whistleblowers. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. On the line with us is Christine Pelosi, a member of the DNC and the Electoral College. In 2016, she served as a presidential elector for the state of California. She's the author of Campaign Boot Camp and Campaign Boot Camp 2.0. Democrats.org is the website. The Twitter handle is SF Pelosi. Christine, welcome back to the program. It's been a while since you've been on. Give us your take on this whole Protect US Postal Service Whistleblowers campaign.
Well, good morning from California. Thank you for having me as I engage in the multitasking of my daughter's first day of public school on Zoom and Democratic convention activities and the advocacy for some of the whistleblowers in particular and all of the postal workers writ large. But essentially for the past several years, I've done a lot of work in the space of workplace harassment, discrimination, bullying, and abuse. And so over the years through my SF Pelosi Twitter feed, I get a lot of information from people who are whistleblowers of one type or another. And there's some people I've been working with for several months who themselves or their family members are postal employees. A few of them have given me permission to share certain information about them. Some of them are African American. Some of them have had COVID scares. One was actually on a respirator. And so when the combination of these cuts came in from the Postmaster General DeJoy, the Trump donor, it's important to notice the two things that austerity does. And Tom, I know you talk about this all the time. It isn't just that seniors and veterans aren't getting life-saving medications on time. That would be bad enough. It's not just that people aren't getting their Social Security debit cards or their unemployment benefit debit cards. It's not enough that the personal harm that's coming to people, that's awful. And that alone would be a reason to stop these cuts. But when you remove a mail sorter from a post office, what you're really doing is making those employees work physically, ergonomically much harder to sort the mail, and it takes longer to do because you're not putting it on shelves. It's like telling your kid, clean your room, and they shove everything in the closet versus putting things on shelves and drawers in an organized way, right? We all can understand that. Mm-hmm. But when that's happening to postal workers, who then others are working full shifts out in the hot sun, again, risking COVID and other diseases, and they're essentially told that their labor doesn't matter, that their grievances don't matter, they're livid. And then when you combine that with limiting the places where people can drop off mail and literally the order that one allowed me to share that they were told to hold back 40 packages at one facility. It's supposed to be mail in, package out on the same day, but this deliberate slowdown with Lord knows what in those packages. Could be life-saving medication, could be something that you ordered, could be Nikki Haley's nephew's popcorn order. We'll never know, but that's got to be delivered. So these whistleblowers need to be protected. According to the Department of Labor statistics, post office employees are always, unfortunately, in the top three of agencies whose whistleblowers receive the most retaliation. So they don't want to get Vindman like the Ukraine whistleblower. They want to make sure that they are protected, and we want to make sure that the systems we built for this moment, labor unions, civil service, and of course, the platforms of public opinion can all be brought to bear to help these workers and obviously help all of us as consumers.
Christine Pelosi, back in 2005, the Postal Service rolled out their vision for the next 2 decades, which included buying a fleet of electrified vehicles. They've got the largest private fleet in America, and trucks that were powered by hydrogen. Within months, the fossil fuel industry, interest kicked into action, and in 2006. We got this legislation forcing the post office to set aside $5 billion a year to pay for the retirement benefits, the health retirement benefits, 75 years from now, postal workers. A naked attempt to cripple the post office. Just when the post office was talking about going green, and they had a huge surplus at that time. Do you see any of this being undone?
Yes, I do, for two reasons. One, as you mentioned, that happened in the last gasp of the Republican control of the House and Senate in 2006, that they started to make them do what nobody has to do, prepay pensions for 75 years going forward. No other government agency has to do that. In fact, no other business does that. But also keep in mind, this has always been about competition. When I worked on Capitol Hill as the chief of staff to a member of the House Government Reform Committee from 2001 to 2005, everybody wanted a bank. DHL wanted a bank, Walmart wanted a bank, UPS wanted a bank. And we said, well, if anyone's going to get a bank, it should be the Postal Service, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be these private companies. But what they want to do is drive the Postal Service out of business so it can be privatized and taken over by people who have profits over people, and who, by the way, the first thing they would do when they took over the post office would be to eliminate that requirement that they prepay pensions 75 years in advance.